Good morning and Merry Christmas. I'm so glad that you're joining us online this morning as part of your Christmas celebration. Church, I trust that you're having a wonderful morning with friends or family or other loved ones. I know that Christmas brings lots of special times with other people, wonderful traditions, some of your favorite foods or gatherings, Christmas traditions, some of the songs that you look forward to hearing every year. And certainly time spent with those you cherish most. And I just so appreciate that you have made part of your Christmas morning an opportunity to remember as a family what Christmas truly is all about and who it's all about in Jesus Christ. Well, I absolutely love this time of year. I love spending time with our kids as they come home from school and have a little bit of time off of school and work, and for us to be able to travel and see family as well. I know that many of you look forward to those same things. It's those special individuals that make this time of year so wonderful. You know, this morning I just want to spend just a couple minutes looking at the Christmas story. Of course, we've been talking about what it means for God to be with us over the past several weeks. And as we read through the gospel accounts of the birth of Christ, certainly we see indications, both in his birth and certainly through his public ministry, of ways that he served as our wonderful counselor, as a mighty God, as our everlasting Father, and last night, as we talked about, as truly the Prince of Peace. But there were a couple other people involved in the Christmas story, some special guests, visitors, that maybe are a little bit strange as far as being involved. They weren't family. They weren't even neighbors or people who lived close, like the shepherds. We read about the Magi coming to visit Jesus in Matthew chapter 2. After Jesus was born, Matthew says, in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who's been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose, and we have come to worship him." You know, after Jesus' birth, these strange visitors from a far away place came to see him, came to visit him. And even though they didn't know Jesus or his parents personally, even though they weren't even Jewish, they traveled hundreds and hundreds of miles and are an incredible part and a really important part of the Christmas story. We can learn a lot from them. You see, when we think about the Magi, we see individuals who sought out Jesus. They had to search for him and go looking for him. In fact, just as they come into the region, they go to King Herod and they say, "Where is the one who's been born King of the Jews?" They identified immediately who it was they were looking for. They had seen his star rise, and they came, like I said, hundreds of miles to find him. But they hadn't just been looking from the time that the star appeared. You see, these were men who had been looking their whole lives. In fact, the people who had trained them, the Magi who had trained them, and those before even their teachers, had been watching for, had been waiting for the Jewish king, the Jewish Messiah, for 600 years or more. From the time of Daniel, they had passed down the tradition of what the Jewish Messiah would be about and who he would be. They watched the heavens, explored creation, and watched for signs that God had in fact sent his son. And once they saw indication that that event had happened, that God had become man, had taken on flesh, they traveled maybe 700, 900, maybe even 1,000 miles on foot and with camel to come and find him. The journey would have taken certainly many, many weeks, if not many months. When they got there, they began asking around. Herod, the king, the Roman consulate, if you will. They asked the Jewish leaders. Herod inquired of the Jewish leaders, Where is this one who has been born? Where do the scriptures, where do the prophecies say he would come from? The Magi had to search long and hard for Jesus. On this Christmas morning, the fact that you're tuning in tells me that you also search for Christ in Christmas. You search for Christ in your life. You look for God's involvement and interactions with you as you go through life. Still today, we search him. And what better day than this morning to search for Christ in our celebrations of Christmas? You see, they didn't just come looking for Jesus. They came with a very specific intention to find him and honor him when they did. They came to worship Jesus, Matthew says. They brought gifts that would honor him and elevate his status amongst his people. Gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. They recognized Jesus' titles or positions of authority amongst his people. They knew that he was a king. They recognized him as a priest, and they came to honor him as such, to revere him for his authority and who he was, long before he would hold any of those roles. Not only did they come to honor Jesus, but the Bible tells us that they even obeyed God after they had seen the Christ child. You see, they had already interacted and spoken with Herod, who had indicated he also was looking for the child. He indicated that his intentions were to also revere and worship him, but we're told in Matthew chapter 2, verse 12, that having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they took another route back to their country, to their home. There were not a lot of paths from Jerusalem back to where the Magi had come from. There were only a few highways, a couple highways, and it was a long and dangerous and treacherous journey. They had most likely on their journey in taken the most direct route, the safest route, the most convenient route. But after they saw Jesus, God warned them that Herod's intentions were not good. And out of reverence for Jesus and obedience to God, we're told that the Magi took a different route that would have perhaps put them in harm's way, could have been a major sacrifice, again, of time and resources, certainly not the most convenient way back. As we stop and think about all of these things when it comes to the Magi related to their worshiping Christ, I think it encourages us on a morning like this to constantly be searching for Christ, constantly looking to see, where is God? What is he doing in my life? How might I come and find what he is about and join him? In what ways can I honor him with my actions and my activity? What positions of authority have I put him in my own life? Have I truly made him the Lord of every aspect of my existence and my life here on earth? And am I willing to obey God even when he asks me to do something that's inconvenient or difficult or maybe might even cost me something? This morning, as you celebrate Christmas with your family, as you exchange gifts with those that you love, as you spend time around the dinner table or in the living room, as you engage in activities and play games and have conversations with those that you love, will you also look for ways to honor God, to thank him for the gifts that he's given you, to cherish the people that he's put in your life, to find ways to speak of him with those who are close to you and maybe those that you run into over the coming days and weeks that maybe don't know him or haven't paid attention to what he's doing in their lives as well. Will you take the opportunity to obey God in this new year? He'll lead you throughout the year into new opportunities and adventures if you're willing to go with him, if you're willing to listen for him and step out in faith like the Magi did so long ago. I hope that you have just an amazing day today with the people you love. I hope that God shows himself to you and that you're watching and paying attention for him. And as a result, I will pray and hope that you are incredibly blessed for it as you come into a new year, having seen him work through the previous. We don't want to take up a lot of your time this morning, but I do want to invite you to stay streaming with us this morning and to maybe spend a little bit of time worshiping. Our worship team has recorded several songs for you this morning just for this online worship service, and I think they've done a great job. It's a beautiful video with just a few songs of worship that I think capture the Christmas spirit. I hope you'll stick around and join us to worship him who has done so much for us. While you do so, I'll pray for your family and wish you just the most wonderful of Christmases and a Happy New Year. We'll look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
1, 2, 3, 4. Come thou long expected Jesus, born to set thy people free from our fears and sins, release us. Let us find our rest in thee. Strength and consolation. anointed Jesus, born to set thy people free from our fears and sins. Release us, let us find our rest in thee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.